If you ask most police officers what the scariest part of their job is, they'll probably tell you it's armed suspects, violent domestic calls, or high-speed chases down dark highways. But every once in a while, something happens that doesn't fit into any report. No clear suspect, no clear motive, no explanation that makes sense. Just a moment frozen in time that follows them home long after their shift ends. Tonight, I'm going to tell you about 3 true police encounters that the officers involved still cannot explain. And the first one changed the way a veteran deputy looks at the woods forever. This happened in rural Montana. Highways stretch for miles without a single streetlight, where forests swallow sound. Backup can be 20 minutes away on a good night. It was 2:37 a.m. when Deputy Aaron Daniels got the call. A disabled vehicle on Highway 84. No caller on the line, just an open 911 ping from a cell phone that suddenly went silent. Daniels had been on the force for 12 years, calm, methodical, not the kind of guy who believed in anything supernatural. He pulled up to the location 8 minutes later. An old gray sedan sat on the shoulder of the road, engine off, headlights off. But the driver's side door was wide open. Daniels stepped out of his cruiser, the gravel crunching under his boots. The air was cold enough to sting his lungs. He called out, "Sheriff's office!" Nothing. He approached the vehicle slowly, one hand resting near his holster. Inside, he saw the key still in the ignition, a purse on the passenger seat, a phone lying face down on the floorboard. But no driver. He scanned the tree line, thick pine forest on both sides of the highway, no houses, just darkness. That's when he noticed something about 20 yards into the woods, a figure standing between 2 trees, perfectly still. At first, he thought it might be a trick of the light, but then his flashlight beam caught it clearly. A woman, long hair, light-colored dress, bare feet. She wasn't waving, wasn't calling for help, just standing there, watching him. Daniels called out again, asking if she was injured. Slowly, she began walking toward him. Her steps were stiff, almost mechanical, like someone copying the way a human moves after watching it once. When she stepped into the full beam of his flashlight, Daniels felt something he hadn't felt in years on the job: fear. Her face was pale, completely expressionless, and her eyes, they reflected the light back at him, bright, glossy, almost glowing. He asked if she needed medical attention. She didn't answer. Instead, she tilted her head slightly to the side and smiled. But it wasn't a normal smile. It stretched too wide, too still, like it was painted on. Daniels reached for his shoulder mic to call for backup, and the second his thumb touched the button, she ran, not toward him, but straight back into the woods. Fast, unnaturally fast. Branches snapped, leaves crunched violently for about 5 seconds, then silence. Complete silence. Daniels radioed for assistance anyway. Backup arrived 15 minutes later. They searched the forest for over 2 hours. No footprints in the soft dirt, no broken branches, no sign that anyone had run through there. It was as if she had simply vanished. The car came back registered to a woman reported missing 3 days earlier. But here's the part that makes this story truly unsettling. 2 weeks later, that missing woman was found alive, hundreds of miles away. She claimed her car had been stolen from a grocery store parking lot. She said she had never been anywhere near Highway 84. Daniels saw her photo. It wasn't the same face he saw in the woods, not even close. He finished his report. The case was closed as a stolen vehicle recovery, but Daniels retired 2 years later. And he still refuses to drive that highway at night, because he knows what he saw, and whatever it was not human. Now, the second encounter happened in Ohio in 2014. Officer Miguel Ramirez was working the overnight shift when dispatch received a 911 call from a little boy. The child was whispering. He said someone was inside his house. Ramirez asked where his parents were. The boy said they were upstairs asleep. Dispatch tried calling the house back. No answer. Ramirez arrived within 6 minutes. The front door was slightly open. He stepped out of his cruiser and immediately felt something was off. The house was dark, no lights on, no sounds of movement. He announced himself and stepped inside. The living room looked normal, furniture untouched, TV off. He slowly moved toward the staircase, listening carefully. That's when he heard it, a faint whisper, not from upstairs, from the hallway behind him. He turned sharply, shining his flashlight down the corridor. Nothing. Empty. He called out again, "Police!" No response. He proceeded upstairs and knocked on the master bedroom door. A groggy man answered, clearly confused. Ramirez asked if they had a child who had called 911. The couple looked at each other. They didn't have any children, no kids, not now, not ever. Ramirez felt a chill crawl up his spine. He explained about the call, the whispering boy. The couple insisted it wasn't possible. They invited him inside to check the house. Room by room he searched, closets, bathrooms, guest rooms, empty. No sign of forced entry, no footprints, no hiding places big enough for a child. When Ramirez went back downstairs, dispatch radioed him. They had traced the 911 call. It didn't come from a cell phone. It came from the house's old landline, a landline that had been disconnected for over 8 years. Ramirez checked the phone base in the kitchen. The cord was cut, cleanly sliced. He left the house that night shaken, but what happened next made it worse. 2 days later, Ramirez was reviewing old case files at the station when he stumbled across something strange. 8 years earlier, the same house had been the scene of a domestic disturbance. A young boy had called 911, whispering that his father was hurting his mother. Officers arrived too late. Both parents were found deceased. The child was never located, missing, presumed dead. Ramirez compared the recording from 8 years ago to the one from that night. Same address, same whispering tone, same words. "Someone's in my house." Ramirez requested the audio copy, but when he went to retrieve it from evidence storage, it was gone. No record, no file, no log of it ever existing. He still works the force today, but he refuses to respond to calls on that street after midnight because some calls never really end. He still works the force today, but he refuses to respond to calls on that street after midnight because some calls never really end. And the third encounter is the one that unsettled even the most skeptical officers in the department. This one comes from Arizona. Wide desert highways, empty stretches of road where you can drive for miles without seeing another car. Officer Blake Turner had been a patrol officer for nearly 15 years. Former military, level-headed, not easily rattled. One night, just after 1:15 a.m., he spotted a pickup truck parked on the side of Route 66, hazard lights blinking, standard stranded motorist situation. He pulled over behind it and activated his light bar. As he stepped out, he noticed something strange immediately. The driver was sitting perfectly still behind the wheel, not moving, not looking at his phone, just staring straight ahead. Turner approached cautiously and tapped on the window. The driver didn't react, didn't blink, didn't even turn his head. Turner knocked harder. Nothing. Concerned the man might be having a medical emergency, Turner opened the unlocked door. The driver was cold to the touch, ice cold, but not stiff. His chest wasn't rising, no pulse. Turner immediately radioed for EMS. As he stepped back from the truck, something caught his eye in the rearview mirror. Movement in the back seat. He leaned down and shined his flashlight inside. Empty. Just a blanket and an old duffel bag. He straightened up again and froze, because in the side mirror, he saw someone standing directly behind him. Close. Too close. Turner spun around instantly, hand on his weapon. No one there. Just empty highway stretching into darkness. He exhaled, trying to steady himself. Probably adrenaline, probably stress. That's what he told himself. EMS arrived 10 minutes later. They confirmed the driver was deceased. Estimated time of death? At least 3 hours earlier. But here's where things take a turn. Turner had run the plate when he first arrived. The registration showed the truck had been reported stolen earlier that evening from a town nearly 2 hours away. Security footage from that town showed the truck leaving the parking lot at 11:42 p.m. with someone driving it, someone alive. The footage was grainy, but you could clearly see the driver. It was the same man Turner found in the truck. The problem? The coroner later determined the man had died of a heart attack sometime between 9:00 and 9:30 p.m., 2 hours before the truck was seen driving away on camera. When detectives reviewed Turner's body cam footage from the roadside stop, something else surfaced. Right before Turner opened the driver's door, there was movement visible in the back seat, clear as day, a shadow shifting under the blanket. But when Turner shined his flashlight inside moments later, nothing was there. And remember when he saw someone standing behind him in the side mirror? The body cam caught that too, for less than half a second. A tall, dark silhouette directly behind him, then gone. Internal Affairs reviewed everything. No evidence of tampering, no logical explanation. The footage was archived. Turner requested a copy for himself, but when he went to retrieve it from records a month later, it had been flagged as corrupted, unrecoverable, no backup. Officially, the case was ruled a stolen vehicle recovery with the deceased driver. Unofficially, Turner put in a transfer request 3 weeks later. He now works daytime patrol in a different district. He avoids Route 66 at night, and he says he still dreams about that side mirror, about the feeling that someone was standing inches behind him, breathing, watching. But what happened next in this case shook even the detectives. 2 months after the incident, another officer reported seeing the same pickup truck parked on the side of the same highway, same hazard lights, same location. When he ran the plate, dispatch told him that plate number no longer existed in the system. It had been retired after the vehicle was impounded. The officer blinked, looked up, and the truck was gone. No headlights driving away, no tire marks in the sand. Just empty road. If you're still here, let me ask you something. What would you do if you responded to a routine call and realized the person you were speaking to shouldn't even be alive? These officers didn't sign up to confront the unexplained. They signed up to enforce the law, to protect and serve. But sometimes, the job puts them face to face with something that doesn't follow rules, something that doesn't belong in a report, and maybe something that doesn't belong in our world at all. If you've made it this far, make sure you're subscribed to Mystery Spectrum US, because we uncover the stories that most people are too afraid to talk about. And trust me, there are many more waiting in the dark. Like this video if it gave you chills. Comment below which story disturbed you the most. The woman in the woods, the whispering 911 call, or the driver who may have been dead before he ever got behind the wheel. And remember this, just because something can't be explained doesn't mean it didn't happen. Sometimes the scariest part of reality is realizing how little of it we truly understand.